This is 16.3 and it was a coaching session. I led a badminton session and the skill was a drop shot. The assignment criteria was to carry out a review, evaluate the planning and justify suggestions. The session objectives were for everyone to learn the basic forehand drop shot in badminton. This was achieved in my session as everyone was able to do the forehand drop shot. Another objective was for most of them to carry out a backhand drop shot. Overall, everyone in my session was able to carry out this confidently. The last objective was for some to be able to perform backhand and forehand drop shots in a game situation. Most of the participants were able to do both, however, a few could only apply the forehand drop shots in the game situation. The session aims were for the participants to be comfortable in performing the drop shot and to be able to correctly do the drop shot in a game scenario, and to be able to play it with precision. Both of these aims were achieved throughout my session as my participants were able to comfortably perform the drop shot. Moreover, they were able to apply this in the game situation. These are my session SWOT analysis, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. My strength in the planning section was having good knowledge of the game before I did the session. Therefore, I knew the rules of the game. Therefore, when I was asked questions about the game, I knew what they were. Also, I had planned drills that were specific to my skill of the drop shot. These drills were important as it meant that the participants were doing something that was related to the skill of the drop shot. The strengths in the delivery was the fact that I was motivating, therefore the participants kept going as I was encouraging them. Moreover, I gave non-verbal communication, such as like clapping my hands or giving a thumbs up. This was better sometimes because it worked better than verbal communication, as it meant more to them than I did saying well done. It meant more to them when I was clapping my hands or giving them a thumbs up. Weaknesses was that I could have used additional resources such as videos or pictures, because sometimes people prefer to see it in this way and have it with them the whole time if it was a picture, so they can keep on referring back to the image. Also, I could have done one more drill. I did 2 drills that was specifically for the drop shot. However, they were both forehand. I could have done a backhand drill. And in the delivery, I could have done more question and answer to make sure that what I was telling them was going into their head and they'll be able to tell me what I was teaching, the key points. Also, I could have done a clearer demonstration so they weren't so confused when they started their second drill. Opportunities in the planning is a badminton coaching course. This could be level 1 or 2, and to shadow a professional coach. So I could get to my local badminton club and ask if I could shadow one of their best coaches. In the delivery, I could have coached alongside an experienced coach, or they could have come and helped me coach my session. However, the threats to all of this is that the expense of the courses. A level 2 course would cost around £200 to £500 depending on where you're going, and also it's difficult to find a coach to shadow in my area that's professional and it's specific in badminton. And in delivery, there may not be a coach willing to give up their time to help me with my coaching sessions. Here are my 3 strengths. From the planning section of my SWOT analysis, I have chosen knowledge of the game and planned drills. From the delivery side, I have chosen motivating. Now, it's important that I had good knowledge of the game, as it made me, as a coach, more confident about badminton, and therefore my instructions were clearer and I used technical language. This meant that my participants could understand what I was saying, but it also meant that if they asked me a question, I knew the answer because I was knowledgeable about badminton. It helped that I'd researched badminton before my session because it meant that I was prepared for the questions that they're going to ask me. Another one of my strengths was that I was motivating. So whilst I was delivering the session, I was giving them encouragement to help them stay on task and get them to become better. This meant that they didn't give up when they weren't able to do the backhand drop shot. It helped me in my delivery that I was motivating because it meant that all the participants stayed on track and they were able at the end of the session to perform the drop shot in a game situation. The third strength was that I planned the drills prior to my session. This meant that during my session, I knew how the drill was set up and how to play the drill. This meant that it was easy to explain and give instructions. Moreover, because I planned it, it meant that while they were doing one drill, I was setting up another so it could move straight on to the next drill and I didn't waste any time. The first area for improvement is to do a clearer demonstration with clear instructions. Because it wasn't very clear, it meant that I had to correct the participants when they were doing the drill incorrectly. Moreover, it took them longer to do the drill because I didn't understand it at the start. This needs to be improved as me as a coach, because then in the future it won't waste time. The way I could improve is to observe a qualified coach in teaching badminton, as it will help me, because I will be able to transfer their language and their way of giving instructions into my own sessions. It can be better observing someone rather than looking it up in books or on the internet, as you get to see it in the flesh rather than reading about it in the book. Therefore, it will be easier to translate what you have seen rather than translate written. Improving my delivery of demonstrations will improve the clarity of my participants, and they'll be able to perform the drill at a higher standard if they know what they're doing almost straight away. However, all these areas of improvement have to be SMART targets. So the target set myself needs to be specific, and I know it is because I need to get clearer demonstrations and clear instructions. It needs to be measurable, so this could be done by getting someone else to explain the drill to me to make sure they understand that they know what they're doing. My target needs to be achievable and action orientated, so I will have explain what I'm going to do. It should be realistic, so it should be challenging, but I should be able to reach it, and it should be time bound. So therefore, I set a target for myself for around 3 weeks. This is so I know how long it will take for me to coach and for it to improve. Another area for improvement is that I could have used more question and answers. This would mean that I knew that what I was saying was going into my participants' heads, because they may not have listened to what I've been telling them, for example, the key points, and therefore they would not remember them. So a development plan to help me progress as a coach is to do a UKCC Level 1 award for assistant coaches in badminton. This Level 1 is the entry point into the coaching world, and it qualifies the assistant coaches to support the Level 2 coaching during a coaching session. This support role might include observation of practice, feeding and group management to allow the effective delivery of a planned coaching programme. The UKCC Level 1 Award for Assistant Coaches in badminton is 2 days taught learning followed by an assessment day, usually run over a 2 to 3 week period. This is good because it's not taking up too much of my time, so it's time bound. However, a potential limitation for me is that a non-Badminton England member, this course would cost £225, and that is quite a lot for just 2 days and then a period over 2 to 3 weeks. However, another developmental plan is the Badminton Young Official Awards, YOA. It's aimed at young people aged 14 to 19, and the award is introduction of officialing designed to equip the young official with necessary skills and qualifications that will allow them to officiate at badminton events. So that will allow me to go out coaching other badminton events and not just sessions that I'm planning myself. The final area of improvement I would do as a coach is to use additional resources such as pictures or short video clips, as sometimes individuals will learn and understand better this way, as they're able to look at the pictures and apply it to themselves. In order to do this, I can look up videos in my planning of the drop shot. Maybe this could be a step-to-step guide of how to perform it. Also, if I printed out these photos, I could show them a different aspect of the drop shot. And if they kept these photos with them whilst they were practicing, they may be able to pick the skill up a lot quicker if they keep referring to the sheet and knowing where to place their body position and where to put their hand. So a developmental plan is planning the session in better detail. So this could be looking up little clips on YouTube or printing out pictures before my session. However, another plan is getting a qualified coach to help run the session, so I can contact my local badminton club to see if a coach would come and help me out. By a qualified coach coming to help me, I'll be able to work alongside them and see how they use additional resources. Also, by doing this, it will improve me as a coach. I'll understand the techniques that they're using, and hopefully I'll be able to apply it to my own sessions. Once again, these have to be SMART. The target I set myself has to be specific. It needs to be measurable, so I could do this by question and answer at the end and seeing if their pictures actually helped them or if it didn't. And my target needs to be achievable and action orientated. So I'll explain what I'm going to do. And it should be realistic, so it should be challenging, but I should be able to do it. And finally, it should be time bound. So I'll set myself a target of around 2 to 3 weeks. So I know it's not going to take too long, but I need enough time so it will improve my participants.